podcast. If you're thinking about starting a business, then this show is for you. Today, I'm going to show you the 7 pitfalls of starting a brand new business and how you can avoid them. All I need you to do is smash that like button. Guys, welcome. I hope you're excited for another great show. I want to give a special shout out to everybody who's gotten on their private call with me where we talk about insuring your way to wealth. Guys, if you have not had a session, you are missing out. I'm giving away a 1 hour free consultation showing you little known secrets of how the wealthy use insurance to create a fortune. And since this is called the Generational Wealth Podcast, you need to know how this works. So if you want to join me for a 1 hour call, well, I'll show you these strategies so you can increase your wealth through insurance. Make sure that you click the link in the comments below. Okay, my slots are booking up. I want to make sure that y'all get on. If you're ready to take control of your financial future, click the link in the comments below. Now, for everybody that's on, please make sure to leave me a comment. Let me know you're here. Give me a shout out. Show me some love, and I'm going to show you all some love in return. All right. Tonight, we're talking about 7 pitfalls when starting a business. This is going to be an extremely important video for entrepreneurs. Now, before we get started, I want to give a special shout out to all the sponsors. As you know, it's only right that we acknowledge them. Thank you so much to everybody who sponsors this channel. I put a lot of work into giving you guys high quality shows. And I want to give a big thanks to everyone who makes their donations. Now, you might be asking, what is a sponsor? A sponsor is someone who donates to this channel. Your donations go a long way towards helping me come out with bigger and better shows. So if you like the Generational Wealth Podcast and you want to see it continue to grow, then please do me a favor and tap the dollar icon directly below the live chat box. Your donation goes very far towards growing this channel. And for those of you that like using Cash App, you can use $Gen Wealth Podcast. Whoever makes the highest donation for tonight's show will be the official sponsor. Enough talking. Let's begin. Are you thinking about starting a business? Tonight, I'm going to give you 7 pitfalls. It's a lot of pitfalls, guys. 7 pitfalls that happens whenever you are a new business owner. These are things that people never tell you about, but I want to let y'all know what time it is. I want to let you know how you can avoid this so that way you can succeed as a business owner. Now, why am I doing this podcast, guys? Here's the problem. Everybody thinks that starting a business is going to be a bed of roses. Oh my God, it's so easy to make money. Everybody can be a boss. Everybody can be successful. Everybody can build wealth. Stop the cap. Let's get back to reality. The reality is 80% of small businesses fail within the first 5 years. So if building a business was so easy, why do most businesses go under? Instead of lying about how everybody is balling out of control, I'm going to tell you the 7 problems that comes with starting a business so that you can know what to expect in advance and plan accordingly. That way you'll have a much better chance of surviving the long haul. Today, we're going to talk about the 7 pitfalls when starting a business. Does that make sense, y'all? I'm telling you what the pitfalls are so that way you can avoid them and stay in business rather than allow you to be delusional and you fall into every pitfall along the way. Let's get into it. The number 1 pitfall when starting a business is lack of funding. A lot of people know that whenever you start a business, you need capital. Now, sometimes you don't need as much as you think, but not all businesses are the same. The first pitfall that most entrepreneurs face when they're trying to start a business is funding their empire. You might think about getting a loan from the bank. You might be thinking about getting investors. So today we want to talk about how to find the funds, because finding funds can be a major challenge. Some businesses cost a lot of money to get started, and some businesses don't cost that much at all. I want to give you guys a clear idea of businesses that will cost a lot of money. If you're thinking about starting a brick and mortar business, that's going to be a lot more expensive. Why? Because you're already going to have expenses to cover like rent, utilities, and inventory, along with other expenses. Whereas starting an online business typically comes with lower costs. You got to know which businesses are the most expensive. That way, you already know what to expect going in. See, guys, I would rather you know this information going in so that way you can strategize than you get started on something. You already put in your time, your money, your blood, sweat, and tears, but you don't count the cost about how much it takes. So, what I suggest for all of my business owners out there that are looking to get started is to start small. Don't go into debt. You don't need to take out some business loan because that's only going to put more pressure on the business. Guys, there's a lot of things that you're going to try to figure out when your business has first started. When you start a brand new business with a loan and you don't have a lot of business experience, this is one of the worst things that you can do. Why do I say that? Because if business isn't going how you want it to go from day one, little secret, business never goes how you would want it to go from day one. 99% of people, it's going to take some time before they really find their zone. If from the first day of starting your business, you already have a bank that's demanding money from you, that's going to put you in a place of desperation that's going to make your business worse. Because instead of creating all of the tools and processes that you need for your business to run effectively, you know what you're going to do? You're going to desperately try to sell in ways that you shouldn't, because folks got to get paid. And when you do that, it's going to mess up how your business would run ideally. Do not take out a business loan just to start your business. I'm telling you, if you don't take nothing else from this call, if you are a startup entrepreneur, this is your first time ever running a business, you have no business experience at all, do not take out a business loan. I would rather you start small using your own money than for you to get yourself into debt and then you can't figure out how to make a sale. What you want to do is you want to take some of the money from your job and you want to put it towards a startup business fund. I know that doesn't sound sexy, but you want to take little portions and grow it over time. The second thing that I need y'all to do is to create a solid business plan. This is going to help you secure funding if you need it. See, for those of y'all that are wanting to get investors, for those of y'all that are going to go against my advice and try to get a loan anyway, I'm just telling you what to expect. You're not going to go in front of any investors and try to pitch your business without a business plan. You need a very clear picture of where your business is going, what it can do, and how it will make money. Your business plan will help you stay organized and on track while you're building your company. So I want you to think about these as being two ways that you can get past the first roadblock of a lack of funding. If you don't have the money that you need to start a business, then get into a business that allows you to start small. Don't think brick and mortar, think online business, less overhead. Think about how online business gives you the opportunities to work with more customers using free marketing. I want you guys to think about all of this when you're putting your business plan together. That's the second solution. When you create a business plan, that's going to help you identify any kind of unforeseen obstacles along the way. When you actually take the time to think about how are you going to start your business? How are you going to put yourself in a position where, hey, I've got this business that I want to start, but how am I going to market it? How am I going to get customers? How am I going to be able to collect money from customers when I get it? See, a lot of people, they want to start businesses and all they think about is their business idea. They never think about what the process is going to look like from A to Z. Create a solid business plan that's going to help you think through your steps before you launch. And it's going to be something that you can put in front of the right investors. When you put this in front of the right people, you never know what can come from it. But guys, I want you to think about this also. You can get funding for your business in multiple ways. You can get funding through crowdfunding. This is where you can create an online campaign where multiple people can donate to your startup business capital with no strings attached. Or you could even get business grants. Now, there's a lot more grants that's being offered right now for people of color. So take advantage of that if you're interested. But I'm just letting you guys know this is the way that you can get started. If your number one barrier is a lack of funding, start small, stay out of debt. And if you need any assistance, before you start begging, create your business plan first. I want you to always remember this. Starting a business can take twice as long and cost twice as much money as you think. So I want you to plan ahead for that. The second thing that I want you to think about is competition. When you start a business, there's going to be a lot of competition in the marketplace. Somebody else has the same idea as you. Now, I know y'all don't want to hear that. Oh my God, I've got this great idea. It's going to kill the game. Regardless of what your idea is, there's a market. And even if you were the very first person to step into a market, guess what's going to happen? You're going to open the door for everybody that's going to come after you. Guys, I'm going to give you guys an example of how there's so much competition in the world of business. You see this a lot with content creators. I remember when I got on YouTube 10 years ago, under my old channel, there wasn't nearly half as many content creators as there are right now. I remember when I started my first YouTube channel, it was called The Urban Money Manager. And when I started that YouTube channel, I could count on one hand how many people on YouTube were talking about personal finance. Do you know how many people are talking about personal finance on YouTube now? Tens, if not hundreds of thousands. You got to think about that. If you're going to start a business, what's going to separate you from everybody else? What's going to make your business stand out in your industry from everybody who's competing for the same customer base? When you start a new business, you must think about the barrier of entry. Now, let me check out some of these comments. Brother Gabar, I'm happy to see you on. Hopefully, you're getting some value from tonight's show. Tonight, we're talking about the 7 pitfalls of starting a business. For all of you entrepreneurs, I'm walking you through all of the things that you want to be aware of before you begin. Make sure that y'all smash that like button. Make sure that y'all share this podcast. You might have a friend that's thinking about starting up a business, and this is something that they need to hear. Ariel said that she's ready for today's show. She needs to hear about what to avoid for new business. And I'm excited to tell you, Ariel, these are things that I definitely want you to think about. You want to think about the importance of differentiating yourself in the marketplace. If you're going to work past the competition, you need to figure out how you're going to differentiate yourself up front. Now, here's some of the things that you can do to set yourself apart from everybody else. You can offer a unique product or service. You can build a strong brand. Or you can have a specialized niche within one of your departments, like customer service. Let me break these things down. You can differentiate yourself by your product or your service. Maybe you have a product that's totally different than everybody else in the market. Netflix was a primary example. When Netflix started their company, they weren't the only company that did movie rentals. That was Blockbuster. So you had Blockbuster, Hollywood Video, multiple movie rental companies, but the difference was you had to go to their brick and mortar to rent the movie. Netflix sent the movie through the mail. That's differentiation. If you offer a service, how is your service different from that of your competitors? You want to start to look at the landscape and see, okay, well, if everybody else is doing this, what do I need to be doing? And that doesn't necessarily mean that everything's got to be different. This is where a lot of people mess up as startup entrepreneurs. A lot of times when you see successful businesses running, there's something that they're doing that's keeping them successful. So if you try to do the exact opposite of every single operation as your competitors, you might not be able to get into business at all. Again, Netflix wasn't trying to do everything different than Blockbuster, but they did have a different approach to delivery. You might just want to change one specific factor in your business, and that will make all the difference. Another way that you can stand out is by building a strong brand. Guys, how many coffee companies do you think are in the world? How many different companies do you know of right now that sell coffee? I know I could think of tons. But you know the coffee company that everybody talks about, Starbucks, is because they have a strong brand. Now, most of y'all would put in the comments that Starbucks doesn't even have the best coffee. But for some reason, everybody is still lining up. It's because they have differentiation. There's something that sets them apart from you just going into the store and buying some coffee cup and then coming home and making it yourself. You got to know how to stand out. Another thing that you can do that really helps you stand out is by having exceptional customer service. If you can pick a specific area within your business that just is different than everything else, that's going to give you a lot of differentiation. So, if we're talking about a food product, for example, you've got a lot of businesses that have made good money just by promoting gluten free. You could use healthy products as a differentiator. If you've got vegan, no GMO, whatever it is that you put in there, you're able to change variables and factors that the right people care about. I'm saying that because a lot of times people think, oh man, is it really going to make a difference if I just change, the label from this thing to that over here? It depends on the right customers. You cannot market to everybody. When you market to everybody, you market to nobody, guys. That's a secret to marketing. And so you got to start doing research on your market to understand how to cater to their needs. This brings me to the third pitfall: your marketing and branding. If a tree drops in the forest and nobody is around to hear it, does it make a sound? What that means is you can have the best product in the world, but if nobody knows that it exists, you're not going to stay around for very long. You're going to be out of business. If you're going to get customers, you must have marketing. And so, what I want you guys to do is to first focus on creating a high quality product or service, and then develop a marketing strategy. Why am I saying create a high quality product or service before focusing on marketing and branding? The reason I'm telling you to do that before for this third pitfall is because a high quality product sells itself. When you create something that's of high quality, you're going to generate referrals through word of mouth marketing. People are going to tell each other. But if your product sucks and it's a piece of crap, then folks are going to spread the word that your product sucks. And that's going to kill your business. Think about a good restaurant. How many times have you been to really good restaurants and you didn't hear about it on the news? You didn't watch it in a commercial, but you found out that it was a really good restaurant because one of your friends told you, maybe a family member or a coworker, and you went and checked it out and you saw for yourself, man, they make really good food in this restaurant. A high quality product sells itself. The problem is there's so many entrepreneurs that are selling crap on a stick, and then they want to mass market it. And then that way you spend a lot of money. You spend a lot of money through advertising because people don't even end up wanting it no way. So before you actually get out there and focus on this big marketing strategy, you first want to make sure that you're delivering something of high value. You want to make sure that you start off small and you can sample your product or service to customers, people that are thinking about potentially giving you a shot, and just see what they say. It's going to take some time and some effort for you to create a strong product because you're going to need to make adjustments along the way. So when you build a business, you really want to get out there with what's known as a minimum viable product. You just want to get out there to see if it's something that the people want. And if it's appealing, you can always make improvements from there. See, sometimes people go out of business because they put all this time and all this money and effort into a product before they launch it, and they don't even know if people care. So guess what happens if nobody cares? Now you don't have enough money coming in to keep the doors open. You could have had the nicest logo, the best looking website, but if nobody cares about the product, it doesn't matter. That's why you need to start small. Identify what your market wants. And then once you've delivered to your market a high quality product, you can develop marketing content that tells your audience how you can meet their demands. You can create marketing once you know that your customers are satisfied with all kinds of promotions to get new people in the door. But I'm telling you, do this out of the order, and it's going to come at your own risk. It's always best for you to lead with quality and then focus on the promotion afterwards. Let me see what y'all are thinking. Shout out to brother Ian. Happy to see y'all on. Tonight, we're talking about starting a business. Ian, I hope your week is going well too, my brother. Ariel says, I'm giving you some good things to think about. Excellent, excellent. Brother Gabar says, even in watching Shark Tank, it's always a plus when the sharks hear the entrepreneurs state their profits are from e-commerce solely. A lot is spent in online marketing for customer acquisition. Absolutely. And one of the things that you notice with successful Shark Tank businesses is they actually have a good product. They actually have something that's very appealing to the panel that makes them say, hey, I want to check this out. And you notice whenever you're watching these entrepreneurs on Shark Tank, before they start asking questions, they first gauge how much they like the product themselves. If they don't like the product, before they even ask any questions, there's going to be two words: I'm out. So you got to make sure that you lead with value. Ariel says, oh my gosh, Starbucks is a good example. They definitely don't have great coffee, but they have such a strong brand. For those of y'all that don't know, Ariel loves McDonald's coffee. Don't like McDonald's as a fast food restaurant. That's more me. But ooh, she will tear some McDonald's coffee up. I don't know what it is, but for some reason, she loves McDonald's coffee. Whole point is McDonald's has their own brand. They sell coffee, but not everybody buys coffee from them because Starbucks has a stronger brand in that area. You can stand out from your competitors by having a solid brand. Brother Gabar says, word of mouth is absolutely the best marketing, free customer acquisition. Ian says he's been doing very good. Finally quit his job and obtained a new job that gives 4 days off. Congratulations, sir. Yes, I'm very happy for you on that, man. I know that they was working you like a Hebrew slave. So hopefully this new gig is giving you better opportunities, and I hope that you go very far. For those of y'all that are just getting on, please make sure that you smash that like button. If you guys are getting a lot of value from tonight's podcast, do me a favor and tap the dollar icon directly below. I want to get some feedback from y'all. Do you want to see me come out with more content about how to start a business? I see that y'all are really vibing with tonight's show. I put out a show this past Monday on lessons learned from the Kyrie Irving trade. And I don't know if y'all was vibing with that one as much. So I'm coming to my market and I'm asking y'all, what content do you want me to talk about on this channel? What do you think is some of the best material that you want to hear about on your road to creating generational wealth? Because for those of you that are first-time viewers, I do own over $1 million worth of real estate. I am a business owner. I do have stock investments. So there's a different range of options that we can talk about. I've already showed you guys, I'm doing these free hour sessions where I'm showing all of my generational wealth family about the importance of getting insurance. So if you want to talk business, if you want to talk insurance, we could talk about it all. I just want y'all to leave me a comment, but this is what marketing is all about. If nobody knows that you exist, there's no way that your business is going to make money. And sometimes you guys put so much effort into making a great product, but you don't tell anybody about it. And see, this is a big problem that we got to focus on, because there's a lot of you guys that have very self-limiting beliefs about money and entrepreneurship. There's some of you guys that are extremely talented, but you will never sell your product because you feel guilty. Listen, guys, you should never feel guilty about getting paid what you're worth. If somebody doesn't see your worth, they're not in your market. A laborer is worthy of his hire. So you could have all of the talent and this tremendous skill, but if you're not putting a price tag on what you're doing, it's not a business. It's a hobby. For some of you guys, you just got to get out there and develop the confidence to sell. So you got to first have a good product, and then you got to be willing to sell it. But a lot of selling comes through organic marketing. The problem with some of you guys is that you're trying to sell too early. You're trying to sell before you've established value. How many times have you seen guys ask beautiful women for the world on day one? How far did that get them? Nobody approaches a woman asking for marriage on the first date. Not if you want to be successful. But you know what you do a lot of times in business? A lot of times what we tend to do, because we think, oh man, because I love this product, everybody is going to love my product. Buy now. A lot of us, we tend to oversell and underdeliver. We tend to get people bought into, hey, this is the price. But there's no need to talk about your price if you haven't talked about the quality. Spend the right time showing the quality, and price will be a non-factor. I remember over the past 10 years that I've been in business, when I've created products and services that people wanted, you know what it is that they told me? Take my money. How much? You know what the question that they would ask me is before I would even tell them that there's a price associated with the product? How much does this cost? When you start having people asking you how much your product or service costs after you've communicated your value, that's how you know that you're on the right track. But if nobody's asking those questions, maybe you're selling too early. Right now, I promise you, somebody is asking, I wonder how much the Beyonce tickets cost. I wonder how much it costs to have floor seats. You know the reason why they're asking that question? Because her value in music is already clear. And there's a market of people that are already interested. I want you to understand, music is a business. And although not every single person, including myself, is a raving Beyonce fan trying to go to a concert, she's done enough marketing of her value to amass a following throughout the world. And there are people that are lining up to go to those concerts. You first deliver the value, the money will come. Deliver the value, and the money will come. But a lot of times, folks be greedy and selfish, and before you've got any value and have communicated it, you already want the money. It don't work like that. Brother Gabar says he would like to hear more about passive income options on this channel. Okay, absolutely. I definitely look into that. That might be the subject of the next show, King. Thank you so much for that feedback. Also, Brother Ian says it would be good to know how to begin to own rentals. He wants to look into rental properties. He says, I know a lot of people make it seem like a sunshine dream, but in reality, it can be a nightmare with tenants not paying or trashing the home. This is true. I've been a real estate investor for almost a decade now, and I definitely got some stories for you. Real estate investing, just like anything else, comes with its highs and its lows, but I'm definitely thankful that I got into that market. Okay, so for anybody else that wants me to talk about certain content on this channel, feel free to leave me a comment and I'll be more than happy to talk about it. Right now, we're still on the third pitfall, which is marketing and branding. The fourth pitfall is time management. Starting a business takes a lot of time. Now, the reason why the fourth pitfall is about time management is because as a business owner, you have to wear a lot of hats. It's not like your 9 to 5 where you just get hired for one job. When you're a business owner, you got to take care of marketing, customer service, accounting. You got to do it all. And what most people don't realize is it's so challenging when you've been living a life where everything that you've ever been done has been assigned to you. And now you're having to come up with your own schedule from scratch. Please do not underestimate this. 95% of Americans have gone through life having somebody else tell them what they should do with their day. When you start a business, this is the first time in your life where everything is up to you. When you were born, your parents dictated your schedule. Then you went to school and teachers told you what to do. Then you graduated from school and then you worked at a job where you had a boss. The boss gave you responsibilities and assignments. But now, as a business owner, you are your own boss. And sometimes that can be the worst thing in the world because you don't understand self-management. If you've been managed by somebody else your entire life, you starting the day with your own schedule, that can take a lot of work, guys. That requires some self-discipline. I know it might not sound like much in theory, but once you start doing this in practice, you're going to realize, wow, it can get kind of scary sometimes when your livelihood depends on how well you're able to come up with things to do from the ground up. So if you want to overcome this pitfall, you need to do 3 things. One, you need to prioritize your tasks. You need to understand what comes first, second, and third. Second, you need to delegate your responsibilities wherever possible because you cannot do everything yourself. Third, you need to use tools and technology to streamline your workflow. These are the 3 keys to success with time management. You know, I talked about this a lot in my program, the Maximum Productivity Masterclass. You will not be successful unless you know how to eliminate, automate, delegate. The key to productivity is not doing everything, guys. You cannot do it all. Instead of doing everything, you got to do the right thing. In order to do the right thing, you got to cut off the wrong things. So when it comes to you knowing your to-dos, you got to know, what should I not be doing at all? If I'm a startup business owner, I don't know if I should be setting up business cards. That might not be the first thing that I need to do. Try having a business first. Create your quality product. But so many people focus on looking the part that they're not actually having any time to invest in becoming the right person. You want to be the part, not look the part. If you're going to do that, you have to focus on your priorities. As an entrepreneur, there's always going to be 1,000 things begging for your attention. This is going to be your own baby. So when you are working in marketing, you're going to hear a crying baby in accounting. When you're in accounting, you're going to get a crying baby in customer service. You have to be responsible to know, what should I do first, second, and third? What things am I not good at doing? And I should have somebody else doing that for me. There's all kinds of things that is not the best for me to do because that's not my strength. Entrepreneurs that are successful are very self-aware. So you got to first identify, what are your key strengths? What are your weaknesses? And then you have to find people and solutions that will cover your weaknesses. The things that are your strengths, those are your tasks. When it comes to the things that are not your strengths, this is where you get other people to do that work. And then you got to find tools and technologies to streamline things. There's a lot of great tools that are out there, guys. But the reason why you need all three is because some of you want to use the tool more than you want to use yourself. What I mean is, no matter how perfect a tool is, it's only as good as the person that uses it. So if you have no system of priority, the tool's only going to get you but so far. The tools are going to work best after you know when to use it the right way. So when you talk about tools, I want you to think about the following areas. You need tools to manage your products, your projects, your finances, your customers, and your marketing. You need tools to manage your products. You need to be able to understand, how am I keeping inventory? You know how many times you go into a restaurant and the food might be tasting good, but you know what they tell you? We don't have that. I want the oxtail. We don't have that. But damn, that's why I came to the restaurant. What you mean you don't have that? This is the number one thing. How many times have you been to a fast food restaurant and you drove all that way to get that one thing? Man, you know how many times I could tell you about times I done went to Jack in the Box, wanted an Oreo cookie shake. You know how many times Jack in the Box and told me, we don't have that. You need tools to manage your inventory. Like, you got to be able to know, okay, during a typical week, this is how many times a person will want this product. This is how many people want this item off the menu. But if you have no idea, you're done. And this is how Chick-fil-A came up, because they focused on mastering the tools that help them understand how to deal with customers, how to give people what they want around the clock. That's why they run like a well-oiled machine. You need tools for your products. You need tools for your projects. So that way you can know, okay, this project comes first, second, third, or fourth. If you're just waking up out of bed and you got no kind of organized structure for your day, you're not really competitive. There's no way that you're going to be able to compete with the top companies in the world if you don't have time management. It's a must. You got to be able to manage your finances. If you don't understand where your money is going, what my mama used to always tell me, a fool and his money are soon parted. And you know what's so crazy? A lot of times you'll hear stories about guys telling you how much money they're making in business, but that means nothing if they're spending more than they make. You could have somebody tell you, oh man, I'm making thousands of dollars a month. But what if they're having to spend tens of thousands on ads? These are things that you want to consider. And going back to what was said by Gabar about Shark Tank, that's what happens with a lot of entrepreneurs on the show. That's why they're asking for funding. A lot of entrepreneurs will go on Shark Tank and then they'll be like, yeah, I'm making this much in sales. But then somebody will ask, well, how much are you generating in profit? And they'll be like, oh, no, we are not actually generating profit. We're having to put this much money towards advertising and marketing. And then that's when the whole room will just get silent. They just look blank like, I'm out. Because they haven't yet made the company profitable. Some entrepreneurs from Shark Tank, you see Mr. Wonderful do this all the time. When Mr. Wonderful sees that you don't know how to manage your business finances, he's gonna try to take the company over and push you out of it. He's gonna be a true shark with it. He's gonna offer you some little perpetuity, and you're just gonna end up paying him for the rest of your life. You've got to manage the money. If you don't know how to manage the money, it's gonna be a big, big problem. And I'm gonna just tell you, one thing that comes a lot with time management is money management. The two go hand in hand. So, guys, I just want y'all to be able to notice that. And if you could, Brother Gabar, I'm curious, what's the real hang up for time management for you? When you say that time management is your biggest pitfall, let me know, like, what is it about time management? Is it that maybe there's so many things that are going on, it's hard to put it all on schedule? Maybe you've got a schedule, but sticking to it is the thing. What is the thing about time management that becomes a challenge? And for any of y'all that want to cam up, I'm going to give y'all a link so that way we can talk about this. If y'all want to be able to cam up with me and y'all got questions, feel free to join the panel. I'm going to put the link in the comments below so that way y'all can link up with me. If you're just getting on tonight, we're talking about the 7 pitfalls in starting a business. I'm showing you guys how you can avoid them. Okay. So right now we're talking about time management. We talked then about managing money. You got to have tools. I told you guys to overcome time management problems, you need to understand your priorities. You need to understand what can be delegated because you should not be doing everything. And then you need tools and technologies to streamline your workflow. One of the areas that needs tools for streamlining is finances. For example, you need some kind of accounting tool to manage your business books. If you don't know what's going on with your accounting, you're not doing real business. You need tools for managing your customers. There's plenty of times where you could be working with 10 different customers, but you don't know what's going on with any one customer at any one time. I was watching this show with my wife. It was called Hustle and Soul. And when we was watching this show, the brother was a damn good cook, but the problem was he didn't have the right tools to really streamline his business. He didn't have the right tools and he didn't have the right operators. Watch the show. He would be making all of these different plates and the ticketing system wouldn't work. But instead of fixing his ticketing tool, he is now going to Michelin star restaurants trying to figure out how they make the dinner plate look perfect. If your ticketing tool doesn't work, you don't need to be looking at no Michelin star restaurant on how they make a plate look perfect. You need to make the tickets come out properly. You need to make sure that you're not losing customers because one customer has ordered one thing, but then you're giving them something totally different. If you're in the kitchen cooking up something, you need a tool that can manage the orders for you. You cannot do it all yourself. If you try to do everything yourself, this is a sure way for you to fail in business and in life. If you're striving to be above average, you've got to know how to delegate. So when we talk about this time management thing, guys, another major key is knowing how to pace yourself so you can go the distance. I see a lot of people talking about starting businesses, but you know what happens? They get started, and within 6 months to a year's time, they burn out really fast. It's because they don't pace themselves for the long run. Y'all know, like how Nipsey Hussle used to say, it's a marathon. The marathon continues. Success won't happen overnight, guys. I know you hear these stories online about, somebody just clicked a button and instantly they became an overnight millionaire. I'm going to let you know something. For me, that's not how it worked. For me, before I made my first $1 million in real estate, I had to go through a lot of hell and high water before I got there. Some of the things that happened in my life before that ever happened. First, I was homeless. Then I graduated from college. Then I worked at my 9-to-5 job. Then I paid off over $95,000 in student loan debt. Then I started a business. Then I invested in real estate. Then I retired from my 9-to-5 job, all while working very hard in church. And in between all of that and going through a lot of trials and tribulations along the way, it was only until years later that I made my first $1 million in real estate. If I had given up in year one, I would have never gotten to the $1 million. If I give up right now, there's no way I keep the $1 million. So you got to understand, guys, success doesn't happen overnight. You've got to work at a pace that you can sustain over a long period of time. And if you decide to be a business owner, which I highly recommend, you need to be prepared to go 10 years doing whatever it is that you want to do without expecting any payback to happen. I know that sounds crazy as hell, right? Who in their right mind will work on a business 10 years and they don't get any payback? What are you talking about, Uzziah? Unsubscribe. Hear me out. The reason why most businesses fail is because most people are watching some social media fantasy where they think that somebody became an overnight success and they didn't have to do any work. So then they start a business and their big break is coming. But because they think the big break is supposed to happen within 6 months, they give up and the big break might come in 2 years. Then somebody else thinks that the big break is supposed to come in 2 years. and it comes in 4 years. You don't know when the break is coming, but you never know if you give up. You will never know when your big break is coming if you give up. And guys, the way that success really works is you're not going to be successful at every single thing that you attempt to do. There's going to be a lot of failures along the way. But when you hit your home run, it will make it all worth it. I could have made $1 million in different places, guys. But because I had different ventures lined up, some ventures, they hit more than others. But you don't know what's going to hit if you don't try. You got to be prepared to go the distance when you're running a business. Success won't happen overnight. The average successful business owner has worked for years before they ever even made a six-figure income. That's just something that I need y'all to think about. Now, let's talk about the fifth pitfall on this road to entrepreneurship: cash flow management. Y'all remember how I told you about managing your finances with time management, right? When we talked about tools, this needs its own pitfall of its own. This is its own topic right here. You know the reason why? Cash flow management is the number one reason why most businesses fail within the first 5 years. If you don't have enough cash flow, the business can't stay open. Maintaining positive cash flow is critical for your survival. But that's very hard to do when you're starting a business because you don't have a steady stream of income. See, if you're running Microsoft, you've already had decades of money coming day and night. But if you just started a business yesterday, you might not even have your first customer. You don't even know how you're going to be able to collect the money. All you've got is your little business dream. And you want to stick with that. But you need to figure out how to have cash flow management. What do I mean when I say cash flow management? You need to find a way to get positive. You need to get net positive on your business. A lot of businesses operate for a long time at a loss. But when you run through all of your savings, then what? Let's talk about this cash flow management, guys. Here's how you can overcome this issue. The first thing that you need to start your business is a business budget. I'm putting this separate from the first pitfall that we talked about, which was the lack of funding, because the lack of funding when starting a business, that's just when the business starts off. But when we talk about this cash flow management, that's going to last you all the way through, from start all the way to finish. Every month, you need to be thinking about your business cash flow. And so when I talk about a business budget, this is different from having a personal budget. You should have a separate budget for your business accounts that lets you know how you're doing when it comes to your operating costs, how you're doing when it comes to you setting aside money for taxes. There's so many people that want to start businesses and pocket all the money. You shouldn't even be pocketing money when you first get started. This is why you need cash flow management. Guys, I wish I could spend an entire day just talking about how to manage your money in business. Right now, just doing this short show, it won't do it justice. But I'm telling you, if you're going to survive, you need to have a business budget, because if you don't, you're going to be spending so much money trying to feed this machine. I'm telling you, ask any entrepreneur. You can spend a lot more money trying to cover a business than you can spend for your personal life. One of my top expenses in my personal budget is the amount of money that I put towards my business every single month. You've got to know this. And so I want you to think about how much money can you afford to put towards your overhead. Let's say that you need equipment. Say that you want to run an online business and you need camera equipment. How much is that going to cost? How much is it going to cost? Just basic expenses like the cost of internet. You need to understand all the expenses that go along with running your company. You need to understand how much money can you afford to put into reinvesting into the business. If you don't have no money going back in, you're just taking all the money out, the business is going under. Because no matter how good that business is, if you don't have money that you can reinvest into it, eventually it's going under. And no greater story than what we saw in 2020, back with COVID. Think about how many businesses went under because as soon as the doors closed, they did not have any money in savings to be able to survive a loss. Millions of entrepreneurs, businesses went under. Millions of employees laid off. You got to know how much money can you put towards savings, payroll. These are all areas that you got to know. And one of the things that you got to think about, guys, is keeping the spending in check. When you start a business, there's going to be something that sticks out called shiny object syndrome. What that means is there's going to be all of these great ideas. There's going to be all of these great tools. Oh my God, I've got to try this. I've got to try this. I've got to buy this over here. I've got to buy that tool. And before you know it, you done bought up all of this stuff, but you have no money to keep the business going. Do not buy whatever and it doesn't bring any ROI to your business. ROI is return on your investment. So what I recommend is that for you as a business owner, you have 1 year's worth of emergency savings over the long haul. I recommend that you have 1 year's worth of emergency savings for business expenses only, so that if another pandemic happens and you go months not being able to do business, you got money saved up. If any kind of emergency happens in your personal life, you have enough money to keep the doors open. There may come a time you might not even be able to work. So you still need enough money to know how to hire other people and put them on the payroll. These are all things that you want to think about for the future, guys. Remember, when you start your business, you can start small, but over time, you should be working your way up. You should be taking a portion of all the money that you make and putting it towards your emergency savings for your business. You should be taking a portion of what you make and reinvesting it back into the company. Just look at this podcast, for example, y'all. Shout out to RTP Lay. He said, this information is imperative. For me to even do the show right here on this level, I need camera, I need lighting, I need a backdrop. This costs money. That's why I always tell y'all, if you get a lot of value from this podcast, then please donate. Because I take the money that you donate and I reinvest it into the company to make the show better. Business owners are not lying about this. When you see business owners constantly coming out with new features and new tools, it's because The customers is allowing them to reinvest in their business so that way they can produce at a higher quality. You cannot have perfect quality starting off. You don't make enough money to have the top tools. You got to work your way up. You don't make enough money to have the top team. You've got to work your way up. Make sure that you have 1 year's worth of emergency savings, guys. I'm just warning you now. You could be a great business owner and the money might be flowing at one time, but I'm going to give you all a little secret. Every business operates in seasons. You know right now what type of business will make a lot of money? Florists. Because y'all know there's a lot of people that celebrate Valentine's Day. So they're going to make money off of that. But then there's going to be times where they're not going to be making a lot of money at all. They got to make sure that they've set enough money aside throughout the year to weather the storm. There might be fireworks companies that might be very profitable in July, late December. But outside of those 2 months, then where's the money coming? You know, people might buy fireworks here and there throughout the years for little occasions. But I'm saying every industry has select months and seasons where this is the time where business is booming. And then there's times throughout the year where you don't make much money at all. You've got to know that about your industry. And you've got to plan accordingly. Because if you're only going just person by person, day by day, the minute that business starts to slow down, will you have enough money to keep the doors open? The sixth pitfall is you got to understand the rules and regulations. You got to know the rules of the game, guys. And there's a lot of people that want to do a lot of great things, but when you're trying to get into starting a business, there's a learning curve. Let's say that there's something right now that you want to promote on YouTube, but you don't know YouTube's rules and regulations. You can say something on the platform that will get you banned. I've seen it happen all the time. You first have to know how the game is played to really get your foot in the door. You got to understand what the rules and regulations are of your industry. You got to understand what the rules and regulations are in your local city. You got to understand the rules and regulations of accounting, and you've got to understand the rules and regulations of the platforms you're trying to join. I'm going to tell you one of the worst moments I've ever had in business. I was working on a consulting program, was going to have tons of people that I was going to work with. Me and my team were fired up. And we were going to promote our membership club through Facebook ads. Now, I had spent a lot of time making a very good ad. And I was going to walk people through my story of how I paid off my $95,000 in student loans and how after paying off those student loans, it led to me being able to retire from corporate. Man, there was so much value that I had to give. And then I ran the advertisement. I was like, man, I can't wait to get this thing started because, ooh-wee, the business is about to start booming. Money's going to start flowing in. I cut on that ad button, then went to bed. You know what happened when I woke up the next morning? I got a message from somebody on my staff that told me, hey, we need to figure out what we're going to do. Facebook has banned our account. What you mean Facebook then banned our account? We out here trying to help people. What happened? Oh, well, according to Facebook policy section 7.A, you cannot say anything about student loans. But I'm like, damn, why can't I can't even tell people that I paid off student loans? The membership club wasn't even about paying off people's student loans. But just because I said that I did it, which is true, just by having that in the statement, Facebook immediately blocked the account. And that was a perfect lesson. Never rely solely on a platform that you don't control and you don't understand all the terms. I always make sure that whenever I get out on any of these platforms, I understand the do's and don'ts before getting started. You could put a lot of time, money, energy, effort. Man, I'm telling you, I still got nightmares from that. You could put a lot into something only for you to just have all the wind knocked out of your sails. Whatever it is that you're doing for your business, make sure that you understand the rules and regulations before you get started. So let me give you guys a couple tips that can help. First, start with a simple route to doing business. You know, there's a lot of folks that want to be on every platform and they want the website. They want Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn. They want to be on all these places, but all the platforms run differently. So if you're on a million different platforms and you don't know how any of them work, you really open yourself up to a lot more headache. It's best if you can start with one area, master that, and move on. Next, you want to make sure that you have systems in your company to ensure that nobody else in the company breaks the rules and regulations. I have dealt with this also. So you might run a company, right? Let's say that you want to do something on YouTube and you might know YouTube's guidelines. But if everybody on your staff doesn't know YouTube's guidelines, you're going to take the hit. You got to make sure that you create processes and systems so that way everybody on the team knows the plan. They know the do's, they know the don'ts. So that way no one person can do anything to take the company under. This is no different than if you're running a restaurant. If you're running a restaurant and you got all these chefs, you better make sure that they know the rules and regulations for cooking in your city. Because I promise you, if you got a chef that's in there that's not following those rules and regulations and that gets found out, your business is going to be shut down. And you're going to lose a lot of money, a lot of time. And I'm telling you, I know people, man, that'll be ready to just say, forget everything. They'll want to say, forget life, because something happened that stopped their business. There was some kind of rule and regulation that they didn't think about, and it came with all kinds of problems. You see this a lot of time, even when you talk about things like copywriting and trademark. There's a million different things. This is the reason why bigger companies, they have legal teams on board where their job is just to make sure that they all understand the rules and the regulations. Let me look at these comments. Okay. Ian asks, what's the panel link for? Yes, the link for the panel is just for you to give me your thoughts on the show. You can ask me questions. You can let me know about a point that I made that really stuck out. You can share one of your experiences when starting a business. Maybe you want to talk about one of the doubts that you have or obstacles that's stopping you from getting started. Really, anything about the show, that's what I want to talk about on the panel. So for those of y'all that want to cam up, the link is in the comments below. I'm going to put it again one last time just so y'all can see it in the comments section. And please make sure y'all check that out. If you haven't done so yet, y'all, please let's get these likes up. All right. Smash that like button. If you haven't yet done so, please make sure that you donate. Okay. Anything would be much appreciated. For those of you that prefer to use Cash App, $Gen Wealth Podcast. You can see the information right now at the bottom of your screen. If you like using PayPal, the paypal.me link is on the screen. Also, your support goes a very long way, my people, and I appreciate that. Okay. So we just talked about the rules and the regulations. You could have a great product, but if you don't understand the rules and the regulations about how you can properly promote and market that product, that could take you out right there. No, I didn't say business was easy. Number 7, hiring and retaining employees. If you're going to do anything significant in business, you've got to have a team. Finding the right people can be a challenge, especially if you're a small business owner and you don't have a lot of resources. So, what I suggest to get over this pitfall, start first by focusing on your sales. Get your sales right and don't hire too early. Go as far as you can go in your company as one person while you create processes of how you're doing things along the way. And then once you start making more money over time, like if you get to maybe 6 figures and beyond, that's when you can hire after that. I really don't even recommend that you hire full time unless you're making multiple 6 figures per year. Why do I say that? Because the money has to balance out. This goes back to what I was saying before about the cash flow management. You don't want every dollar you make going to an employee. You want a portion of it going to payroll to help grow your company, but you would want some of that money to go to you. So try to work on growing your business as much as you can. And then once you reach certain goals financially, that's when it makes sense to hire somebody else on board. But understand, there's a 99% chance you're not going to have the world's greatest employee your first shot. It takes time. Like, I have an excellent assistant right now, but that took a lot of time to even find someone that can deliver that kind of value. You don't just start a business and here's all the great people that want to work for you. No, most A players want to work for A companies. We talked about that on the last show. Y'all need to go back and watch that show, by the way, because y'all sleeping on it. Don't let the sports analogy fool you. The last podcast, I was just showing you how the trade exposed how generational wealth is built through 3 key areas. I'm just letting you know this now. If you like my content, but you haven't watched that show, you're going to be mad because there's some gems in that show. Check it out and then hit me back and let me know what you think. But as we talk about this show on the 7th pitfall to starting a business, you want to make sure that you avoid the pitfall of not having any staff. You having to do everything on your own when you first get started is going to be a challenge. That's the reason why I told you got to time manage very effectively. Okay. So just to recap, guys, on these 7 pitfalls when you're starting a business, number 1, lack of funding. You've got to know how to get past your funding issue. Number 2, competition. You're not the only person that wants to make money in business. Number 3, marketing and branding. If nobody knows that your business exists, how are you going to generate customers? Number 4. And can I say something on that real fast? Stop saying make money. Unless you're the Federal Reserve, you don't make money. The Federal Reserve is the only institution that has the power to make money. As an entrepreneur, you get money from other people. This is why you have to market to them. If you're not getting out in front of people, you're not going to make money. You don't have the power of making money. Only the Fed does that. So if you're going to get money and receive money, you've got to market your company. You've got to promote. If nobody knows that your company exists, there's no way that you're going to collect money. There's no way that you're going to get customers. The way that you get customers is by having a high quality product and then promoting the value of that product to your target market. The 4th thing that you need to avoid is problems with time management. There's a billion things to do, but there's only but so many hours in a day. So if you're not prioritizing, you could be taking irrelevant things that won't make you any money, and you could put that at the top of the list. And the very things that will make you money in your business, you tuck that away because you don't want to do the hard work. You're procrastinating. You've got to have time management. The 5th pitfall that you want to avoid is negative cash flow. Don't be one of these entrepreneurs that's only focused on your revenue. You want to think about, okay, am I getting this business profitable? There's a lot of companies that are not making a profit. And as soon as you know what hits the fan, their business goes under. You want to make sure that you're making more money than you spend, and you're putting a part of that money back into the business. The 6th pitfall, rules and regulations. If you're starting a business, but you don't know any of the rules, it's going to be a rough road for you. You can save yourself years of headache if you just take a few minutes to learn about the platform that you want to do business on. Lastly, number 7, hiring and retaining employees. It's very hard when you're first starting off because you don't have any help. But you want to make sure that you do the best that you can. And then after your business has grown over time, that's really when you need to focus on growing your team, because nobody has ever done anything extremely substantial in this world without having an excellent team. Christ himself had the 12 apostles. Okay. So I hope y'all got a lot of value from this. If you did, please make sure that you support. And I want to give a big shout out to my brother, Lyra Texan, the Israelite, for donating. I thank you so much, my brother. I really appreciate that, man. It feels good to get some love on the podcast. Okay. So thank you so much. For those of y'all that still want to donate, you could do so just by tapping the dollar icon directly below. Guys, I don't know what kind of price tag you would put on this information, but this is definitely worth something, y'all. Okay. I put a lot of time and effort into creating these shows for you guys to make sure that you walk away with all those tools that you need to get started. If you get a lot of value from this channel and you find a lot of support from my content, please do me that favor and make sure that you support. I'm always going to make sure that I shout you out and show you some love. So thank you once again, my brother. I really appreciate all of the support. It means a lot. Blessings to you and your household. Okay, y'all. So listen, man, We'll be back on here, Lord willing, this Friday. I'll try to be on sometime around 4:30, y'all. Y'all still got to work with me on the Fridays. I'm still trying to get that Friday time down. But as you can see, we do these live podcasts Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. They're typically in the evening. I like to do the Friday a little bit earlier because that Friday evening, that's my day of rest. All right. So if you haven't done so, please make sure that you like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Turn on that notification bell so you can receive an alert whenever we got another show. Okay. If you guys really love my free content, you definitely need to check out one of my programs right now. I'm working with folks in my Elite 12-month coaching program called Your Breakthrough Year. This is a 12-month program that's dedicated to helping you reach your goals as quickly as possible. If you're looking to dominate the next 12 months, you need to join. I've worked with so many people who have gotten out of debt, started businesses, lost weight, reached goals in all these different places because it's not about me. It's about what you want your life to look like in your breakthrough year. So, guys, I'm looking forward to being able to work with you on that. I'm going to put the link in the comments below. I want y'all to leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought about tonight's show. Let me know which of the 7 pitfalls you struggle with the most. That could be the very thing that can stop your business from taking off. I know mine was time management. And the more I focused on that, the more results I saw over time. All right. So thank y'all so much for tapping in with me. Love y'all. Hopefully, I'm going to see you on this Friday's podcast. Thank you for everybody that left a comment asking about what kind of content you want to see more on this show. Brother Gabar, he talked about passive income options. So I'm excited to talk about that. And I'll see you all on the next show. Until next time, keep pushing.